taking part in all our military cooperation initiatives. So this is exactly what we'd like to expect over in the future. We agreed to have a proposal of Philippe to have annual meeting of foreign ministers once per year. That will bring even more systematic, regular coordination to our already quite good and excellent cooperation. So really grateful to my colleagues, and everyone will say a few words and we'll take questions if there will be some questions. François?
Well, listen, dear colleagues, Linas, thank you for welcoming us to Vilnius. This is probably the summit that we organized as quickly as you can find in diplomatic history. You know, we talked to each other and we said it would be a great moment to reaffirm the very strong commitment we have in terms of stability and security in the region. We had very fruitful discussions today about the issues that we find in the region generally. We talked about issues surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh, obviously Belarus. We talked about the issue in Ukraine. We had also the opportunity to talk about the issue of arbitrary detention. So we are very pleased as colleagues, because what binds us and what our citizens, I think, are asking us more and more is to deal with countries which share the same values and principles. And I think our friendship is deeply rooted in these basic values of defending human rights, standing up for freedom, liberty, democracy. And it's really a commitment by Canada to increase our presence, to increase our engagement with the region, whether it's in Estonia, Latvia, or Lithuania. We are very committed, and so I'm delighted that today we have agreed on an annual summit to talk about security issues, to talk about economic issues, to talk about the future that we can build together. You know, Canada is deeply committed to the region. We will continue to be, and I'm really, really pleased that today we could also meet together with the leader of the democratic movement in Belarus so that we could exchange views, decide to work together on very concrete actions. So it's always a pleasure to be back in the region, and I'm happy to announce that Canada will be hosting the next summit next year in Canada, COVID permitting, so that as another sign of strengthening our engagement, we said that we should look at opportunities for us to do more together, whether it's about statements, whether it's about joint initiatives. And I'm proud to say that our colleagues have been joining us on the arbitrary detention initiative that Canada has been talking about for some months. And this is another sign that we share the same very strong values and principles. So with that, I just want to say again, Linas, thank you for being such a great host. And I would say to my friend Edgar, thank you also for Latvia for hosting Canadian troops. I know they find in your country a real good home. And Hermas, I would just want to say again, thank you to our Estonian friend who has shown time and time again that they would be supporting Canada and all initiatives. And I think at the very end, I would say there's never been a more important time to show this very important relationship of the Euro-Atlantic bound, which is helping us to promote the values that we have on the international stage. So with that, just want to say again, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be in Vilnius, and I look forward to hosting Canada next year.
If you survive, that's the way how you get attention.
Okay. No, don't take it too seriously, friends. But shall I speak without it? We'll try. We'll manage it. Okay. So. Canada and Baltic countries are geographically distant, but by our values and by our understanding of the world, we are very near to each other. And so actually this was a refrain of today's meeting, and I'm happy that today I feel that we turned in our foreign policy coordination a new page, and I'm truly thankful for that visit of Canadian colleague and kind hosting of Lithuanian colleague. And surely Estonia is very proud of the Canadian part that you are playing as a part of NATO forces here in our region. We are truly grateful for that. And we discussed today also good plans how to improve on the civic society support to support the freedom of Belarus people. But we discussed also about the future. But freedom deserves also the Venezuelan people, and also where very many issues which we are going to continue in the practical way. Thank you.
I will try. Well, first of all, Linas, thank you very much for hosting us. I think that your hospitality has been exemplary, and also thank you, Philip, for having this idea. And actually, as we were laughing, this meeting was organized in 10 minutes to the great surprise of our own officials. But I think that it shows how close we are when it comes to our political relations, and also that we are like-minded nations on many issues. Just a couple of points I want to underscore from my point of view. First of all, we highly value the presence of Canada in this region. As you already said, that you are thankful to Latvia for hosting Canadian troops. Actually, we are very grateful for sending them as part of NATO mission, and I think that also our discussions today on the importance of transatlantic relations, on the importance of the need to strengthen NATO and also to be able to counter challenges was very good. Second, indeed, we agreed on the need to continue very strong partnership, not only between Baltic states and Canada, but between European Union and Canada, and probably also other like-minded nations globally on issues that are relevant to all of us, from climate change to the regional security issues, be it Belarus, be it Ukraine, be it situation in Venezuela. And here, the Baltic states are ready to work with Canada and with our European partners to strengthen this relationship. Finally, let me also reiterate what I have said already many times, that the Baltic states and Latvia particularly, of course, are fully in solidarity with our Canadian friends and allies over arbitrary detentions. We think that this is something that we cannot accept as the tool in the modern diplomacy or international politics, and we have included this statement of support in today's statement, but we are also glad that we can support Canada in its broader initiative to have a coalition of like-minded nations on this issue. So full support to our Canadian friends also on this important subject. I'll stop here. I understand there can be many questions on subjects we just discussed.
Good afternoon. My name is Linas Linkevičius. I'm from the Linas Linkevičius. Two questions, if I may. Mr. Canadian Minister, in the morning after meeting Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, you said you would discuss some further steps. What could be taken to increase the pressure on Lukashenko regime and to support civil society? Have you discussed today, do you plan any further steps apart from those sanctions that are imposed? And my second question, during this European tour, you said you would offer Canada's mediation in Eastern Mediterranean. Have you discussed it with NATO official Secretary General, and what response have you received from him and from both sides? Thank you.
Well, indeed, we had a chance to discuss with the colleagues the proposals that were put forward this morning with the leader of the Democratic Opposition this morning, Svetlana. We will be considering, because that was the real purpose. I mean, I want to thank again Linas for his great leadership and the leadership of the Baltic countries. You are the forefront of the response to what we have seen as fraudulent election. We have been acting in concert, I would say, in imposing sanctions, in saying that Mr. Lukashenko is not the legitimate leader of Belarus. And today what we did with Svetlana was really to look at what are the next steps, what are the plans, how can we support that in respecting the will of the people, because this is what is at the core of what has been happening, is that these fraudulent elections have not translated the will of the people in an elected leader, and that's why we believe fundamentally, and that's why you will see more and more of Canada and the Baltics, I think, in the future, because we share the same very strong principle, values, democracy, liberty, and freedom, and that's what we try to bring our collective wisdom and collective experience and expertise in support of Svetlana. So each and every one of us could share ideas, and now it's going to be for her and the council to consider what of these proposals they would want to carry forward. When it comes to the Eastern Mediterranean, obviously, we all discussed this issue again today, because that's the nature of the forum we want to create on an annual basis, is to review the security, economic issues, the issues of our time. I would say climate change, we talk about integration of supply chain, we talk about a broad-based number of topics, but more specifically to your question about the Eastern Mediterranean, yes, because I started my week in Greece, meeting with the Prime Minister, meeting with the Foreign Minister of Greece, understanding obviously the dynamic. I spoke with our Turkish colleagues just before I left for Athens, and what I've offered at the time is understanding the dynamic of the situation, is to offer, in addition to what already Germany and other countries are doing, if Canada can be helpful to resolve this issue. There are precedents in international law to resolve them. If we can offer our support, we will be there to do that. And I must say that the recent movement of ships that we have seen by Turkey is not helpful under the circumstances. What we want is the people to get back to the negotiating table and understand there's a willingness by our Greek friends to do that when the conditions are right. I'm sure you cannot let Edgar's go without a question. I cannot believe that.
Let's move.
You can ask him the question.
Let's give it a
Maybe later, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
It's Friday.